What is up, YouTube? Welcome to PanFro Games. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the best builds that you should build to defeat the upcoming 7-star Quaquaval Raid for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Just as a reminder, this is a predictions video, but my predictions are usually on point, and this is the final starter 7-star raid. But luckily, we can handle it. It's a water raid. We got plenty of builds from past videos that we can reuse for this. And of course, guys, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. I really appreciate it. And of course, support the channel by joining the Pan Fam by hitting that join channel member button below. Now for the Quaquaval Raid breakdown, and here are my predictions. So one, we got some hardcore facts. We know it's going to have the hidden ability Moxie. Moxie will give it +1 attack for every KO it gets. Now this is actually an ability that's not a big issue when you're doing online raiding, but for solo raiding, your raid allies faint a lot. So Quaquaval will be getting its Moxie up, +1 attack. And if you look at an attack stat, 120, you don't want anything boosting this attack. This is going to be a little bit scary for sure. We know it's going to be Terra Water, and it's most likely going to be times 35 HP, because the Meowscarada and the Skeletor's raids were both times 35, so I assume this one will also be the same. Now, looking at stats, 120 attack is pretty insane. I don't think it's going to use any special attacks in this raid at all. Its HP defense and special defense are all not so great. So we're going to target that special defense stat, though, because it is the slowest stat. And at 85 speed isn't that fast, but I do think we shouldn't try to outspeed it. There's no point because his signature move is Aqua Step. Aqua Step is going to be boosting its speed by +1 every time it uses it. And remember, in raid battles, it is 1 versus 4. So by the start of turn 2, he could be at +4 speed. There's no point in trying to outspeed it. Just assume Quaquaval will be outspeeding us. So bulk is going to be pretty important in this raid too, or at the very least resisting water and fighting type attacks. Now, I think there's a lot of good fighting type moves. I think Brick Break is a nice middle of the road option. If it uses something like close combat, it will lower its stats, which could be pretty good for us. But I do think Brick Break will be a pretty decent middle of the ground move for us to cover. And now coverage moves for physical stuff, it actually doesn't have that many great coverage moves in terms of type diversity, but Ice Spinner is a pretty big one. It's going to remove terrain as well, so grassy terrain, electric terrain, stuff like that will be gone. Physical ice type move as well. And then acrobatics and Brave Bird. Brave Bird will slightly do a little bit more damage, 120 versus 110, because there's going to be no item on the Quaquaval, so acrobatics will be getting the boost, but Brave Bird does slightly hurt it, so they're essentially the same move in this regard. And then for a couple of status moves, because this is a dancing Pokemon, and the Skeletorge was very much on flavor, and I do think the Quaquaval is going to be on flavor as well. I mean, Aqua Step is a dancing move. Ice Spinner, you can see, is a dancing move. It's spinning in a circle. Acrobatics can be seen as a dancing move. But, you know, I do think it's going to have some actual dances, like Feather Dance, Swords Dance, and Rain Dance. Feather Dance will lower the target's physical attack by 2, so which is why I don't really recommend physical attackers for this, because it does get Feather Dance. Swords Dance will boost up its own physical attack by 2. And then Rain Dance will set the rain for 5 turns, which will make it so water type moves do 50% more damage, which I can definitely see it doing that on like turn 0. I think Feather Dance and Rain Dance have a really strong turn 0 aspect here. And now for the best builds that you should build. Now I'm going to be breaking down this in a couple sections, and section 1 is going to be grass attackers. Now Superior is superior in this. Superior has sort of a perfect matchup here, as we're going to be resisting that water, which is great, but we also have a way to boost ourselves and deal a lot of damage and remove the ability of the Quaquaval. So we're going to have the item Shell Bell and the Terra Grass, and max special attack, max defense with a modest nature, and you want to have the hidden ability Contrary. We're going to be using this so we can boost our special attack with Leaf Storm, and by using Leaf Storm to boost our special attack, we're also going to be doing more damage and getting more HP recovery via that Shell Bell. What I really like about Superior is it's sort of the perfect matchup because, one, we have Breaking Swipe. So we're going to build up our Terra Charge with Breaking Swipe. This is going to allow us to not only build up charge, but lower the Quaquaval's attack every single time we hit it. So we're going to have control over the physical attack of this dot. We also have Gastro Acid. Turn 1, you can hit a Gastro Acid on a Quaquaval, and now he is not going to be able to have any more Moxie boost for the rest of the raid. I think this is going to be very important in the solo battle, just because your solo allies could really die pretty easily just because you don't know who you're going to get. It could be weak to water, weak to fighting. So this is going to prevent yourself from getting set up and swept by this duck pretty quickly. Once you've done that, Leaf Storm, Terra Grass, Leaf Storm, just spam that. Get that +6 special attack. If you do get wiped on your stats, well, you can just do it again because, you know, use a PP max, so you have 8 of these instead of 5. And then if you ever run out, you can go for Energy Ball, and Energy Ball has a 10% chance of lowering that special defense. Now, Lurantis is a bit of superior at home. It's not as good, but I already had it, and if you don't have a superior and have a Lurantis, you could try to use it. Hopefully it worked out well. Terra Grass, Shell Bell. It's going to be the exact same build, though, with a modest nature, max special attack, max defense. Now, I will say superior has a little bit less special attack, but Lurantis has a little bit more physical defense. It's literally a slight trade-off. Same ability, contrary, and you're going to do the exact same thing, Leaf Storm spam. Now, because you don't have Gas or Acid, because you don't have Taunt, because you don't have the Breaking Swipe, we're going to put Synthesis to give us a big HP heal and Grassy Terrain to boost the damage of our grass moves and give us a little bit of HP back as well. Now, another phenomenal Pokemon, I think, is Sinistcha. Sinistcha has an incredible matchup here because you resist water and you're immune to fighting, which is going to be really huge here. We're going to go Terra Grass with the Shell Bell. And max special attack, max defense. Your ability does not matter because neither of them are going to really matter at all. But the thing about this is that special attack and that's physical defense is better than both Superior and Lurantis out the box. So Sinistcha is really strong. And what I like about Sinistcha is you can boost your special attack with Nasty Plot, and you have Iron Defense actually boost up your defenses as well. So when your stats do get wiped, you can easily go for an Iron Defense or 2 to get your boost up. So even if he's at like +6 attack, you can still boost up to your own +6 defense and essentially not have to worry about too much for the damage. And Nasty Plot to boost your own special attack so you can do some big damage. Now, what I really like is the move Matcha Gotcha. Now, Matcha Gotcha will give you HP recovery from the damage you do, but it also has a chance of burning. So you can burn the Quaquaval, whether it has shields up or not, you can burn it and just cut that attack stat right in hat. And I do think Sinistcha is going to be the dark horse in this raid. Now, for our last grass attacker, I do think Appleton is going to be really good. Now, Grass and Dragon is actually really solid because you 4 times resist the water. Neutral to fighting, yes, you are going to be weak, 4 times weak to the ice moves if it does have any ice moves, but that's okay because we're going to have the item Shell Bell, and we have the ability Thick Fat, which makes it so we take half damage from ice and fire. So instead of being quad super effective, it's only going to be regular super effective. So that's going to be pretty nice for Appleton here. So we're going to go once again, max special attack, max defense, modest nature. And what I like about Appleton is its signature move is Apple Acid. Hitting it will lower the special defense of the Quaquaval, which is really nice. So every time you hit the Apple Acid, this is going to do a little bit more damage each time, and it's really going to rack up. And with that Shell Bell recovery, it's going to be very nice. You have Iron Defense to boost your defenses, so you can take those hits a little bit better. You also have Grassy Terrain to boost the damage of Grass-type moves and give you some little bit recovery. And then once you have enough debuffs, you can just go back to Energy Ball to do a little bit more damage. And now for our Electric-type attackers. Now, Miraidon is going to be the best Electric-type attackers because Electric and Dragon means you're going to be doing stab super effective damage, but also resist water because of that Dragon typing, which is going to be really sweet. And of course, you do resist flying if he does have acrobatics. Of course, you're going to be weak to ice, but Miraidon is an absolute beast of a Pokemon defensively. So we're going to have that Electric, Taro, and Shell Bell, and max special attack, max defense. You got great stats across the board, and your ability is going to make it so that you set up Electric Terrain on the field, and you get a special attack boost with Electric Terrain being on the field. And there's a couple ways you can build Miraidon. Some people like doing the Parabolic Charge build, which it's pretty good. You could do like Metronome with Parabolic Charge if you don't want to do this build. But I do think Shell Bell Electro Drift, because it gives you a lot more damage because of Electro Drift's ability. It's going to essentially, that powers 133, and then with the special attack boost from the Electric Terrain, and then the Electric Terrain boost because it's an electric attack. And this is going to do a lot of damage. Now, we do have some setup. We have Calm Mind to boost our special attack. You may do this once or twice in the raid. The big thing is we do have Metal Sound. Now, Metal Sound is, it could miss, but if it hits, -2 special defense. So turn 1, you can go for a Metal Sound, and then big Electro Drift, and just get all your HP back and just do a lot of damage. And whenever your terrain goes down, you can re-put it back up with Electric Terrain. And it's honestly going to be a really strong build. Now, Belly Bolt works sort of as a electric. It can like be a supporter. It can also do a lot of damage by itself. So this is sort of like a mix between the two, but I think it's going to be really strong Pokemon in general. So we're going to be an electric Terra of the item Magnet. Magnet will give us a 20% damage to electric type moves. It's going to be really strong. And because we're going to be going second, our electric type damage is essentially going to be getting boosted every time because we're naturally slower than Quaquaval. And we're going to go in max special attack, max defense with a modest nature. What I really like about this Pokemon is we do have access to Chilling Water. Now, Chilling Water is going to lower that physical attack stat each time and give us a nice Terra charge each time we do it. We can also have Acid Spray to lower that special defense. This will go through shields as well. And then once we're ready to do big damage and get our HP back, Parabolic Charge will give us 50% of the damage we do back as HP. And last move is Reflect, just in case, you know, we want to get essentially like a fake +2 on our side of the field for 5 turns. That's going to be really strong here too. Now for Mr. Iron Hands with Terra Electric and the item Metronome. This is going to be your standard Iron Hands build. Max attack. You can do max defense. I like max HP in my Iron Hands in general, just because that stat is so massive. It's sort of crazy. We have an Adamant nature, and it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to Swords Dance, Thunder Punch, and just spam Thunder Punch when we can. Electric Terrain will give us a boost to electric damage, but also set up Quark Drive, which will give us another physical attack buff. So that's going to be pretty nice. I'll definitely say this, if you're raiding online, Miraidon and Iron Hands are a great team together. For solo, I do think Iron Hands will have issue clearing solo, so probably wouldn't recommend it for the solo build, but I do think in general, it's going to be a very strong build. Now, this is sort of the supporter section. Malamar is weird because he's not a supporter naturally, but I don't think Malamar is going to have a remotely fast clear. I think it's going to be a really slow clear in general. So I'm going to sort of put him here because he also does work as a supporter Pokemon. But we're going to go Terra Grass with the Shell Bell. And Malamar is very interesting. So Adamant Nature, max attack, max defense, the ability Contrary. So what we're going to be doing here is ideally, if you really want to remove that Moxie from it, especially in solos, you can go for a skill swap on turn 1, and then you can just essentially die right after that. So he has Contrary on. So if he sets up Swords Dance, he's going to do -2 attack. Whenever he does Aqua Step, he's going to lower his speed by 1. So that can be really nice. And then when you die and come back, you will have your Contrary again. And then from there, you can spam Superpower because you have Contrary. Your attack and defense will go up by 1. And then you can just keep on boosting yourself with that. And then Terra Grass when you can. And then Terra Grass, Terra Blast. It's going to be super effective damage, but of course, it's not going to be stab boosted damage, unfortunately. It'll be Terra boosted, but it's not going to be doing as much damage as if you were naturally a grass type. But it's going to be a very good Pokemon to use here in general. So if you don't have the other Pokemon, I actually recommend Malamar a lot. Now, we do have Quillfish. As a true supporter, I don't think you need a Terra in this raid at all. Water and Poison's perfect because you're going to resist water, you're going to resist fighting, you're going to resist ice. You have pretty much a perfect typing for this raid. We're going to have the item Shell Bell. You want to go max HP, max defense with plus defense nature. And you have the ability to Intimidate. So -1 starting the raid, which is going to be really nice. And as a supporter, your goal is to debuff. So Acid Spray to lower that special defense, Chilling Water lower that physical attack of the Quaquaval. Both work through shields. If he does try to set up like a Swords Dance or something else, or Rain Dance, you can use a Taunt. And that Taunt will make it so he can't do that anymore. And then you want to boost your allies, you can use an Acupressure on them. And it'll give them a +2 a random stat. Some really good ones would be physical attack, special attack, physical defense, evasion. This is a very great move. So I highly recommend Quillfish if you plan to be a raid supporter online. And the last Pokemon I'm going to bring up, it's going to be Clodsire. Now, Clodsire, Poison and Ground, you would think, oh, we're going to be weak to the water type moves. Well, we have the ability Water Absorb. And we're a Poison type, so we resist the fighting type moves. Your Terra actually doesn't really matter here. I think I would just keep it as is. There's a debate on what you could go for, but I think Fairy is pretty decent. It makes it so you still are going to be resisting the fighting stuff. Also, you're not going to be weak to ice because you are going to be weak to ice with the ground type. So I think Fairy is a pretty decent choice. And of course, you're not going to be weak to, well, you never were weak to flying, but you don't have to worry about any acrobatics or things like that. So max HP, max defense with a plus defense nature, have the ability Water Absorb. And we're just going to be essentially supporting with Acid Spray, Chilling Water. We do get Mud Slap, so you can lower that accuracy, which is really nice. And then when you decide to do some damage, Earth Power is going to be your way to go. Maybe get some special defense drops, but overall, super easy, super chill build. I do think this raid is generally going to be pretty easy, and I do think these two supporters are going to make it an incredibly easy raid if you decide to play online. But for solo players, I think the best solo builds we had, honestly, I think Miraidon and Belly Bolt are going to be really strong. I do think Superior and Sinistcha are going to be incredibly strong too. So there you have it, guys. I hope this is a super easy raid. We're going to do this raid live this Thursday at 7 p.m. So definitely be there and watch me test these builds live and test other builds I find out or figure out by the time Thursday rolls around. Of course, guys, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a great one.